What I'm about to tell you is going to piss you off, wake you up, and quite possibly change the trajectory of your entire life. Here's a fact that will either infuriate you, liberate you, or both. Right now, with this very moment, there are people making 10 times, 50 times, even 100 times more money than you, and they may even have less experience, less education, less work ethic, and less integrity than you. Is it just me, or does that piss you off too? Does it at least make you shake your head and say, what the? Now, be honest. When you see others succeeding faster than you, does it frustrate you, make you curious, or maybe a bit of both? What's that feeling like for you right now? And before we dive deep into this, I want to remind you to stick around until the very end because I have a special gift for those of you who are serious about finally breaking through. It's something that could change everything for you, and I'll show you exactly what it is at the end. So, what the heck is going on? I'll tell you exactly what's going on, and this might be the most important thing you'll ever hear. There are laws operating in your life right this second that are either making you rich, keeping you broke, making you successful, or keeping you stuck, creating the life of your dreams, or trapping you in mediocrity. And here's the kicker. These laws are working whether you know about them or not. My name is Ed Smelich, and I used to be that guy, getting passed by, scratching my head saying, WTF? I just got passed by who? I was also the guy that would say to himself, yeah, I'm not so arrogant to say I'm the best. I agree, Danny's better, but not 30 times better. What is going on? So I went on a mission to figure it out. There was a 2-week period where I read, studied, meditated, watched videos, and hardly slept when it hit me. I wasn't working with the laws. But here's what really pisses me off, and should piss you off too. The only laws I remember being taught were the ones I needed to get my driver's license. Nobody taught us the important laws, not in school, not at home, not anywhere. Instead, they filled our heads with complete BS about how success works. And that's exactly why 92% of people never achieve their goals. Harvard Business Review proved it. 92% of hardworking, well intentioned people are stuck in a system designed to keep them mediocre. A system that was designed by the Fords and the Rockefellers, who needed a society of workers in their factories, not entrepreneurs who would compete with them. Rockefeller said it himself. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Another quote says the same. The problem is not that people are uneducated. The problem is that they are educated just enough to repeat what they're taught, but not question what they're taught. Ignorance is not bliss. So, what's the opposite of ignorance? Knowledge, awareness. Let's step into awareness. Let me guess what your parents told you about success. Let me guess what school taught you. Let me guess what society has been drilling into your head your entire life. Work hard, you'll get ahead. Good things come to those who wait. Money doesn't grow on trees. Life isn't fair. You have to struggle to succeed. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. Which of these lies have you believed the most in your life, and has it held you back? Here's the truth that should make you mad. Every single one of those statements is complete garbage. It's programming designed to keep you small, keep you struggling, and keep you in your place. And the worst part? We all believed it because we trusted the people who told us these lies. I don't think they were intentionally lying to us to deceive us. I just think they didn't know the truth. Hard work always pays off. Really? Some of the hardest working people I know are broke, frustrated, and exhausted. You know why? Because they're working hard on the wrong things, using the wrong methods, following the wrong rules, and they bought into these lies hook, line, and sinker. Hard work without the right knowledge is just spinning your wheels in quicksand. You work harder, you sink deeper. The Bible says in Hosea 4:6, my people perish for lack of knowledge, not lack of effort, not lack of patience, lack of knowledge. Julius Caesar said, for lack of training, they lacked knowledge. For lack of knowledge, they lacked confidence. For lack of confidence, they lacked victory. When was your last victory? Good things come to those who wait. This is stupid. Wait sounds a lot like procrastinate. Don't get me wrong, I am a staunch believer in divine timing, but that assumes somebody is taking action, massive action, not just waiting. Don't wait for your ship to come in. Swim out to it. Here's my revision. Good things come to those who understand how the game is really played. Success is mostly luck. Oh, they just got lucky. Right place, right time. Must be nice to have connections. You know what this is? It's the excuse unsuccessful people tell themselves to feel better about their mediocrity. Sorry, luck is not random. Opportunity, not random. Success is not random. There are laws, scientific, unchallengeable, predictable, repeatable laws that govern every result in your life. And the people getting lucky are the ones who know these laws and use them. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And when you're working with the laws, more and more opportunities just show up out of the blue. Here's what they should have taught us in school, but didn't. Your results are determined by one thing: whether you're working with the laws or against them that govern your success. And here's the part that should make you furious. These laws aren't secret. They're not hidden. These laws were installed from the beginning for our benefit. They're in the Bible. They're in ancient philosophy. They're proven by modern science. Why is this not being taught? Or how about this? According to neuroscience research, 95% of your daily decisions are made by your subconscious mind. That means you're only consciously controlling 5% of your life. You're on autopilot 95% of the time, running programs somebody else installed. The program downloads happen mostly between the ages of 0 to 7. Tragically, the conscious mind is not developed enough at this young age to reject what should have been rejected. And since the subconscious mind cannot reject, any and all programming was accepted and downloaded. No wonder you feel like you're not in control. You're literally not. Further, it's estimated that of our 60,000 daily thoughts, 80% of those thoughts are negative. And get this, 95% of those thoughts were the same thoughts we had the day before. Let the battle begin. Knowledge and awareness versus ignorance. Here's where it gets interesting. I break these laws down into 3 categories. They run everything, and I mean everything, in your life. When you understand how they work together, success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. That doesn't mean that if you don't work with the laws that failure is inevitable, but who doesn't love a good cheat code? Let's start with the laws of the mind, your internal operating system. We have 6 intellectual faculties that are more powerful than any computer ever built, but you probably don't know much about them or how to strengthen them. It's like using your computer only to play solitaire or having a Ferrari but never leaving first gear. Everybody knows the 5 sensory factors: see, hear, smell, touch, taste. But Can you name your 6 intellectual faculties? Imagination. Einstein called the imagination the preview of life's coming attractions. What were you told? Stop daydreaming. Be realistic. Nothing has ever been created that was not first imagined. Intuition. If prayer is us talking to God, then intuition is God talking to us. This is our direct line to infinite intelligence. What were we told? Be logical. That's a big dream. Don't set yourself up for disappointment. Maybe lower your expectations. Next is the will. This is your ability to choose, regardless of current conditions or circumstances. What were we told? Accept your situation. You get what you get, don't throw a fit. The will is also your concentration power, and your concentration power is your manifestation power. Next is memory. This is your database of infinite possibilities. You may use it to your advantage to remind yourself of all of your successes and victories, large and small, or you can dwell on your past mistakes and let those blunders drive your decisions. Next is reason. This is your logical faculty that allows you to think and plan. Wait, think for ourselves? Perception, your reality filter, your belief system. The old half glass empty versus half glass full analogy. Perception is not always reality, and it's usually not the full truth either. It's just a lens. How do you choose to see your reality? I like the way Dr. Wayne Dyer says it. Loving people live in a loving world. Hostile people live in a hostile world. Same world. See the pattern? Which of these intellectual faculties do you feel you've been using the least? And what could change in your life if you tapped into it fully? Everything you were taught about your mind was designed to keep these faculties weak and underutilized, or worse, focused on the wrong potential. Category 2, the laws of the universe, the rules of reality. Do you believe there's a capricious, ever-changing, whimsical God that decides who will be happy, healthy, and wealthy, and who will struggle? Or can you imagine an all-knowing creator that is conspiring for your success and put laws into place for your benefit? I'll cite John 10:10. I came that they might have life and have it more abundantly. The creator of the galaxies is in your corner and wants us to live in abundance. Okay, that was a little bit of spirituality, and we'll balance it out with some science and physics. Einstein said, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Everything is energy. That includes your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and yes, your bank account. Did you catch that in high school or college physics class? Match the frequency of the reality you want? Let's unpack that. Your dream reality is on a different frequency. The way we get on the same frequency is using a couple of our intellectual faculties. We use our imagination to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and we use our will or our concentration power to hold our focus on our dream. What would it feel like if I had that ideal partner already? What would it feel like if I got that promotion? What would it feel like if I was living in a perfectly healthy body? Mary Morrissey says, we can't get to our dream. We must come from it. And as long as you're on that station, that frequency, those are the only results you can get. It would be like trying to watch ESPN when you're tuned to CNN. You can only attract what you are vibrating in harmony with. Let's run through some laws of the universe. We really need to align with all the laws, not just the two everybody talks about. There are 12 universal laws. Due to the popular movie The Secret, most people have heard of the law of attraction, but they're not using it correctly because they don't know about the other 11 laws that support it and actually make it work. The other law people have heard of and talk about is the law of cause and effect, also known as karma. And they use it backwards. The law of attraction is actually a secondary law under the law of vibration. This law states that nothing rests, everything vibrates at its own unique frequency. Your current vibration is creating your current reality, good or bad. The law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Your external world is a perfect reflection of your internal world. Change happens from the inside. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, don't try to change the mirror. The law of divine oneness. We are all connected through energy and connected to infinite intelligence. What you wish upon others, you wish upon yourself. Our society's battle cry, I'm gonna get mine. The law of inspired action. The universe will guide you and help you, but you have to move. It's like steering a car. It works much easier and better when it's moving. The law of cause and effect. Every effect has a cause. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're the cause of them. The law of relativity. Everything just is until we put a label on it. Life doesn't happen to us. Life happens for us. All challenges are divinely inspired to make us stronger. And those are just half of the laws that were put in place for our benefit. Which of these universal laws resonates with you the most? And why do you think it's speaking to you right now? Category 3, the laws of success, the proven blueprint. Most incredibly successful people aren't familiar with the laws either. Oh, they're using them. They just may not know it. Aware or not, somehow this needs to be passed on to future generations. Andrew Carnegie realized the same thing. He was the richest man in the world in 1903 and thought it was an absolute crime that people like himself, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Harvey Firestone, and others who had amassed similar fortunes were going to their graves with all this knowledge locked up inside of them. So Carnegie set out to find the person who would organize these principles of success into a proven formula that would lift people of all backgrounds to happiness and prosperity. Napoleon Hill was that person. Napoleon Hill was a young reporter working for a nationally known business magazine. The magazine decided to write articles on wealth. Andrew Carnegie was the first interview, and Napoleon drew the lucky assignment. It was supposed to be a 3-hour interview, but it went longer because Carnegie was also doing his own set of interviews. At the end of 3 hours, Carnegie informed Hill that the interview was not over and invited Napoleon back to his house to continue. This is fortuitous for Napoleon because he didn't even have enough money to pay for a hotel room for the night. For the next 3 days, both asked their interview questions, and Carnegie ended with this one. Napoleon, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want a yes or no answer. Are you prepared to dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you may not receive any material compensation for at least 20 years? I'm not going to subsidize or pay your way, but I will provide letters of introduction to all of the most successful people in the world. Carnegie was looking for a yes or no answer, but what he did not tell Napoleon was there was a 1-minute deadline. At the 29-second mark, Hill passed the interview by accepting the assignment. If you were presented with the same question, what would your answer be? Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying 500 of the most successful people in history. What he found were consistent patterns, laws, and principles that worked the same way every time for every person, regardless of background, education, or circumstances. He took their combined wisdom and narrowed down their insights into 13 steps to riches, riches being whatever you value. These steps and principles, or as Carnegie and Hill both called it, a philosophy, was laid out in Think and Grow Rich, the book that has made more millionaires than any other book and has sold more than 100 million copies. In high school English, I read To Kill a Mockingbird, Great Expectations, Wuthering Heights, and a bunch of others I forget. Was your high school reading list similar? Not in the curriculum was Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Getting Rich, or The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Now, in math class, I memorized the quadratic formula. I doubt I've used it since then, but I'll bet that if I was taught the results formula, I would have used it. The results formula has been creating your current results, whether you know it or not, like it or not. And it's a lot simpler than the quadratic formula. Your thoughts cause images. Those images cause and control feelings, vibration. Feeling is just a word we invented to describe our awareness of our vibration. Your feelings or vibration cause your actions, and your actions cause your results. If you want to know what you've been thinking, look at your results, because your results never lie. You can always tell what's happening on the inside by what's happening on the outside. And as long as you're on that frequency, those are the only result you can get. Once again, thoughts, images, feelings, actions, results. If you want different results, you have to change your thoughts. But here's the key. You can't just think different thoughts. You have to reprogram your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a computer. It's running programs that may or may not serve you. What is one result in your life that you know is not matching your potential? And what is it costing you to stay stuck there? Okay, spirituality to physics, and now back to spirituality. For further validation, the Bible is packed with these laws, but you probably haven't heard a sermon on them. Correct me if I'm wrong. Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart is Latin for heart of hearts, which is the subconscious mind. Which law is that? Law of correspondence. Matthew 7:7, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. That is the law of attraction and inspired action working together. I love the acronym. Did you pick up on it? ASK. Ask, seek, knock. Mark 11:24. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. That is the law of vibration, feeling the reality of your desire before it shows up physically. But they teach you that these are metaphors, that they're not meant to be taken literally. Why? Because if you knew you had this power, you wouldn't need them to think for you. Let me share some research that proves everything I'm telling you and will make you furious that nobody taught you this earlier. Dr. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying millionaires. What he found will make you just want to scream. Millionaires don't just have different bank accounts. They have completely different mental programming. They think in terms of possibilities, not limitations. They focus on opportunities, not obstacles. They see resources everywhere, not scarcity. Their minds are literally wired differently than broke people. And here's the kicker. This has nothing to do with intelligence, education, or background. It's 100% programming. Can we change our programming? I'm going to give you two small pieces of this system right now. Right now, your current income, your current relationships, your current life, it's all a perfect match to your current vibration. You're getting exactly what you're vibrating. Here's how to test this. For the next 24 hours, pay attention to how you feel about money. Not what you think about it, how you feel about it. This story may help. It's a story about Raymond Charles Barker, an elder religious statesman. He was giving a lecture and slowly moves his aged frame to the center of the stage and opens up his wallet, pulls out a very large pile of money, and fans out the stack for all 3,000 audience members to see. Admiring the stack and holding it up to the audience, he says, "This is money. I love money. I just love money." He then says, "Don't raise your hand, but let me ask you a few questions about what you were thinking while you saw me do what I just did." He said, "Did you have any feeling of repulsion or disgust or feeling critical towards me because I did what I did? You might have even thought, this guy's not even spiritual." He looked around the room and he said, "If you had any of that, let me tell you something. Money heard you. Why would money want to come where it's not loved, where it's not welcomed, where it's actually pushed away and rejected?" When you think about money right now, what is the first feeling that comes up? Consider this. Rather than holding up money, saying, "I love money," held up my 4-year-old grandson and said, "I love my grandson." He followed up with, "Not one of you would have felt disgusted or repulsed or think that I'm not spiritual. Because of your mindset, you've been trained to think that it's okay to love a grandchild, but it's not okay to love money." When you see a wealthy person, how do you feel? Resentful? Envious? Inferior? You're vibrating poverty. When you pay bills, how do you feel? Stressed? Worried? Frustrated? You're vibrating scarcity. When you look at your debt, do you think you'll never get ahead or out from underneath it? I had a client who had a goal of getting out of debt. Sidebar, anybody who has the goal of getting out of debt probably won't ever get out of debt, because what is their focus? Debt. Energy flows where attention goes. Change that goal to, "I am financially independent." Anyway, back to my story. She described her debt as overwhelming, suffocating, discouraging, debilitating, and soul crushing. Can you feel that emotional signature, the vibrational frequency? So can the universe. The universe's language is emotion. It hears that communication and says, "Oh, I see you are emotional about debt. That must mean it's very important to you. Have some more." It doesn't know what you really want, only what you vibrate. When you think about your financial goals, how do you feel? Doubtful? Overwhelmed? Impossible? You're vibrating limitation. Now, here's the fix. Start feeling grateful for money you haven't even received yet. Feel excited about opportunities you can't see yet. Feel abundant even when your bank account says otherwise. We can use our mental faculties to deliberately choose thoughts that are aligned with the results we want, regardless of our current conditions or circumstances, like the report card, bank account, or maybe the scale. Build that mental muscle, and when paying those bills, say, "Money, I release you with joy, and you return to me multiplied." And be open to receiving. When my kids were young, they loved finding coins. A penny or a nickel got them so excited. But when they found a dime or a quarter, it was like hitting the jackpot. I love seeing their joy and have to admit, on many occasions, throwing coins in front of them when they weren't looking just so they could find it. That was the jackpot for me. As I got older, whenever I saw a stray coin, I wouldn't pick it up because I wanted somebody else's kid to find it and be as excited and joyful as my kids were. But after studying this material, I changed that ritual. Now, whenever I see even a dirty old penny, I pick it up. Why? Because I am open to receiving whatever the universe thinks I would appreciate. It knows I like money, and it is just trying to give me more of what I like. The universe doesn't know the difference between a penny and $1,000,000. It just knows I like it, and it wants to give me more. Feel abundant and be grateful in everything, and watch what happens. I guarantee you'll start noticing opportunities, ideas, and possibilities that were invisible before. They weren't really invisible, they were just outside of your awareness. What is one small thing you could do today to start feeling abundant, even though circumstances have not changed yet? What is stopping you from doing it? Decision. Successful people make decisions before they know how they'll achieve their goals. Unsuccessful people want to see the whole plan before they decide. They want all green lights down the street before they'll even back out of the driveway. Here's how this works. Pick one goal you want to achieve in the next 90 days, something specific. Don't say, I want to be successful. The universe does not know how to cash that check. Be specific. Treat the universe like your Uber driver. Give it the specific address, but don't worry about how he or she gets you there. Don't pick something you already know how to do. That's not a goal, that's a task. Goals are not to get, goals are to grow. Now, make a firm decision that you will achieve it, regardless of how it happens. Write it down as if it's already done. I am so happy and grateful now that I have, I did, I am. Then start acting as if it is already done. Make decisions from that future reality. Speak from that future reality. Feel from that future reality. But here's the key. You have to let go of how it will happen. Your job is the what and the why, and the fusing of your frequency with the reality you want. The universe's job is the how. So put the how on hold. This works because when you make a firm decision, your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, starts showing you opportunities and resources that were always there, but invisible to your current programming. Emerson said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. These are just a couple pieces of the puzzle. When you put the whole system together, that's when you get life-changing, income doubling, dream manifesting results. Any achievement will have adversity and failure. You will have to pass the persistence test. That's just a nice way of saying you're going to get kicked in the teeth. But as Napoleon Hill said, every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. I love inspirational stories because I find what I'm going through is never as bad as these come from behind victories. Use these as a reminder of what is possible, as well as what you've been missing. My first story isn't just an underdog story, it's an undergarment story. Sarah Blakely understood these laws from an early age. Her father would often ask her, what have you failed at lately? And if she said nothing, he would ask, why not? In a period of time where she was selling fax machines door to door and had only $5,000 to her name, she had an idea for a footless pantyhose shaper. Even though she knew nothing about manufacturing and had no business experience, She aligned her vision with the laws, and the how showed up. Manufacturers started saying yes, investors appeared. Oprah featured her product and Spanx was born. Sarah became the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. Speaking of Oprah, I love the Oprah Winfrey story. If there is anybody who could legitimately play the victim card, it's Oprah. Born into poverty, sexually abused as a child, and then fired from her first television job because she was unfit for television. But she understood these laws and put them to work to become one of the most influential people on the planet. And in 2010, she earned $310 million for her TV show. Not bad for somebody unfit for TV. Haters gonna hate, doubters gonna doubt. Don't listen to anybody but your true higher self. Steven Spielberg was rejected from USC Film School 3 times, but he understood and persisted. He decided he would become the greatest filmmaker of his generation and started acting as if he already was. He snuck onto studio lots, set up an office in an abandoned trailer, and started networking with executives. His net worth is now a little over $3 billion. Chicken Soup for the Soul was rejected by 145 publishers before it was accepted. That series has now sold more than 500 million books. And one of my favorites, Walt Disney. Walt had multiple failures, including bankruptcies, but I love this one. Walt was fired from a newspaper for, get this, lacking imagination and having no original ideas. These people aren't superhuman. They may seem that way now, but consider their starts. These stories are so inspirational because realistically, their start was probably lower than us and their journey more difficult. If this is ground level and they started here and they made their way up to here, they weren't more talented than you. They weren't luckier than you, but maybe they knew something more than you. Which of these stories inspires you the most? And what is one obstacle you're facing that you now believe you can overcome? Let me tell you a story that illustrates everything we've been talking about today. It's about William H. Murray, one of the greatest mountain climbers in history. Edmund Hillary was putting together a team to summit Mount Everest, something that had never been done before. He invited Murray to join, but Murray declined because of the cost. What's the vibration? Scarcity. He did the same thing a few years later. He let the cost stop him. When Hillary asked Murray a third time, he said, "Listen, Murray, we're going one more time, and I think we're going to reach the summit this time because when I got down last time, I looked back at Everest and I said, I will climb you because you're not getting any bigger and I am." That time, Murray asked a different question. What's the deposit? Even though he had no idea where he'd get the rest of the money, he made the decision and took action. And here's the key. The rest of the money just showed up out of the blue. Murray was responsible for discovering the southern route that allowed the team to successfully summit Mount Everest. Here's what Murray wrote about that experience. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of creation, there is one elementary truth, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come their way. The German poet Goethe said, "Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it." This isn't motivational fluff. This is how the universe actually works when you align with these laws. You have a choice to make right now. And it's the same choice every successful person has had to make at some point in their life. You can go back to believing the lies. You can go back to working hard and getting mediocre results. You can go back to wondering why other people seem to have all the luck. Or you can decide that you've had enough. You can decide that you're done living by other people's rules. You can decide that you're ready to learn how the game is really played. Here's something that successful people understand that broke people don't. You have to invest in your education to change your situation. An article on LinkedIn proposes the 3-7-10 formula. Maintenance. 3% of your gross salary is the baseline for personal or professional development and can include anything that improves your accessible value, which could be books, courses, coaching, new experiences, or even network and relationship building. As you earn more, the same percentages still apply. Step up. That's the next level. 7% of gross salary is what is recommended if you're looking to not just maintain your skills, but show improvement, position yourself for a promotion, or get to the next level. To step up requires an additional commitment of not only funds, but the amount of time you set aside for those activities. In this case, a good rule of thumb is between 3 to 7 hours per week. Next level, take a leap. According to the article, a 10% investment into yourself will yield at least a 1-to-1 return and should be a 10x return on investments. Now, if someone could help you double your income or turn your annual income into your monthly income and has been done thousands of times, what would that investment be worth? But here's what people vibrating in scarcity never calculate. What's the cost of staying where you are? What's the cost of another year, another 5 years of getting the same results you've always gotten? What's the cost of watching other people live the life you want while you're stuck in the same patterns, making the same mistakes, following the same ineffective strategies? As Jim Rohn said, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. What is the biggest cost that you're paying right now by staying where you are? What would your life look like if you could eliminate that cost? I've shared more rubber meets the road value with you in the last 40 minutes than most people get years of traditional education. But here's the reality. Information without implementation is just entertainment. You can watch this video, feel inspired for a few days, then go back to your old patterns, or you can take action. At the beginning, I mentioned a special gift for staying to the end, and here it is. Within my coaching schedule, I carve out time each week for what I call a discovery or breakthrough session. This is a 30-minute phone, Zoom, or in-person conversation where we just get crystal clear on exactly where you are, where you want to be, and some immediate action steps that will move you toward your goals. My time is valuable, and this information is even more so. I could easily charge $250 for this session, and people would gladly pay it because of the clarity and direction they receive. But I'm offering it to you as a gift. Why? Because I know that once you experience what's possible, when you align with these laws, you'll want to learn the complete system. Some of you aren't ready for this, and that's okay. Once again, I believe in divine timing. Of course, that may also be why you're here. But for those of you who are done with mediocrity, who are ready to stop making excuses and start making results, who want to learn how to work with these laws instead of against them, your next step is this complimentary breakthrough session. In 30 minutes, we'll get clear on your purpose, what you're really here to accomplish, your vision, what success actually looks like for you, your goals, the specific outcomes you want to create, and your plan, the step-by-step strategy to get there. Even if we never work together beyond that session, you'll walk away with more clarity than you've had in years. That is my gift to you for taking the time to learn about these laws. Here's what I know about you. You wouldn't have watched this far if you didn't know deep down that there's more to life than what you're currently experiencing. You wouldn't still be here if you didn't believe that you're capable of more than your current results are showing. You have a Mount Everest level dream inside you. And maybe there's no clear path right now, but that doesn't mean a path doesn't exist. It just means you need to expand your awareness to see the possibilities that are already there. What is inside you is far greater than any challenge you're facing. You have incredible power within you, the same power that creates galaxies, that moves mountains, that turns dreams into reality. But that power only works when you align with it. This is your moment. This is your day to stop accepting mediocrity and start creating mastery. There's never going to be a perfect time to invest in yourself. There's never going to be a perfect time to take the leap. There's never going to be a perfect time to stop following the crowd and start creating your own path. All we have is now. You're at a choice point. You can close this video, go back to your normal routine, and hope that somehow things will magically get better. Or you can take action on what you've learned and discover what you're truly capable of. Don't wait. Don't let this moment pass. My calendar link is below this video. Click it. Grab a time that works for you, and let's have a conversation about what's possible. Remember, every successful person you admire was once exactly where you are right now. The only difference is they made a decision to stop accepting their current reality and start creating their desired reality. Your future self is waiting for you to make that same decision. Because as the German poet Goethe said, whatever you can do or dream you can't do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. The laws are working in your life right now. The question is, are you going to work with them? Choice is yours. Make it now. Thank you for investing the time to watch this. It has the ability to change your life, and I hope it does. I believe in you.